so much value in a side hustle, and that's a nice theme today. Seth Kniep is my guest. He's the founder of Just One Dime. I talked about that at the start of the show. He joins me later in the program. We're going to walk through some extremely practical and extremely affordable ways that you can start a side hustle. So what would be, I think, 3 primary reasons why you should start a side hustle if you're feeling stuck? Well, number 1 is get out of debt. Hey, I'm a part of Ramsey Solutions. I'm a co-host of The Ramsey Show, the world's #1 financial radio show. Dave Ramsey's my mentor. So we don't talk about just purpose. We're going to talk about finances. That's a big part of it. We're not just going to talk about loving your work. We want to talk about work that creates a nice fat paycheck for you, a bigger shovel, if you will. So one reason why you may need to start a side hustle is to speed up the process of getting financial peace, whether that's paying off debt, whether that is funding the emergency fund, funding kids' college, funding your retirement, the whole 9 yards. A side hustle, especially in 2021, 2022, is easier than ever. So one good reason, hey, I want to get out of debt. I want to make more money to walk through the Ramsey baby steps. Well, come on. Doing it for yourself might be the best way to do it. Number 2, how about funding and cash flowing your family goals? So some of you are in great financial situation. You've walked through the baby steps. You've got peace, but you've got some dreams. Maybe starting a nonprofit for your wife. She's always dreamed of it. Maybe traveling the world with your kids just to do it. When you have financial peace, you'll be amazed at how many dreams start flowing back in your head. Maybe that were there a long time ago, but you had to quiet them because you just knew it wasn't even close to possible. Maybe thoughts and dreams you've never had before because you have a new perspective on the world when you have financial peace. So funding and cash flowing big goals and dreams is another reason a side hustle makes a lot of sense. And then third, and this may be, to me, the most important strategic reason for a side hustle, and that's testing the dream. Whether it's working for yourself or working for somebody else, testing the dream job. Low pressure testing is so valuable. What I mean by low pressure testing is if you start a side hustle to test an idea or to test yourself, to kind of wade into the water, it's so much easier when you don't have the pressure to provide or you don't have the pressure to perform. The pressure to provide comes from when it's your livelihood. That's enormous. It's killed so many great side hustles and dreams. When there was pressure to provide put on it. There's no allowance for testing and trying, reevaluating, restarting. You can't do that when the pressure to provide is there. Now, when the pressure is there to perform for your job, that's tough too. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you don't know if it's right. You just take a job and go, I hope it works. So you understand that. So a side hustle many times is a wonderful way for you to get out of debt, to fund or cash flow important things, dreams, maybe some health issues that aren't dire but need to be dealt with over time, whatever it is. And then testing the dream job. The side hustle is unique in the American life because it doesn't take a lot usually to get started. Technology is readily available. You've got vast amount of relationships where you could test something as a true side hustle. It's just, we're going to try this business. We're not going to invest a huge amount of time and money, but we are going to do enough to see if it works. And I'm reminded of one of the great quotes from Martin Luther King Jr., who has so many. He said once, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Look at those words. I mean, therein lies, you could just take the idea of a side hustle, a business where you want to try. Well, what a powerful word in 3 letters, try. And you want to do that, then that really embodies that because if you can't fly, then run is what he's saying. And if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. And what he's saying is that whatever, just move forward. And so a side hustle is just that. A side hustle is a whole lot of crawling. Now, is it possible that the crawl turns into a walk? Absolutely. And you start getting into that, you make it from crawl to walk, there's a good chance you can run if you're patient. And so this is the idea. I think you have to take Martin Luther King Jr.'s challenge and say, hey, if I start a side hustle, I'm all about crawling. That's all I'm going to do is crawl. Because if I crawl, I'm not going to get hurt. It's hard to break a leg when you're crawling. Now, you might skin your knees a little bit, but you know what? You're also going to go, I know I'm crawling, so I'm putting on some knee pads. If I wrestle with my kids at home, which sadly, those days are gone. Nathan, you're square in the middle of that. You'll be doing a lot of wrestling. Well, Nathan, let me just tell you, as a dad who's done a lot of wrestling, when you wrestle the kiddos, put on the long pants. Put on the sweatpants. Hey, you're not going to get knee burns. But listen, we can prepare for that. We know that. So when I'm crawling, the damage that can be done is extremely minimal. And there is great power and freedom and confidence that comes with it. I'm just going to crawl. There's great excitement when we go, I'm just going to crawl and see how far I could crawl. No major pressure here. We're not breaking bones. We're not destroying our financial lives. Is it possible, Ken, to be in the baby steps and crawl? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. And that's exciting too. So a little bit later in the program, we're going to dive deep on this because Seth Kniep's a genius. This guy's done it and helped a lot of people. I'm going to give you some practical ways you can begin to crawl and get that side hustle up and going and maybe fund the next dream. It's going to be great. Don't miss it. Coming up, your calls. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Did you know recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make sure your resume is getting noticed. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process and land your dream job. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work and in life. We want to get you a bigger paycheck, the right paycheck. We also want you to fulfill your purpose in your work, to see tremendous meaning and contribution, so that Mondays aren't miserable. That's what we're here to do here on the Ken Coleman Show. 844-747-2577. I am your coach. So if you got some emotional junk, you say, Ken, I just need to tell you, man, I'm down. I just need to pick me up. We'll take those calls. If you got a tactical question, you got some choices to make. What do I do next? Where do I go? Ken, I need some confirmation. We take those calls too. So it's open season. I say I'm your coach and counselor and cheerleader, but at the end of the day, sometimes I'm just a bartender, The only difference is I'm not pushing any quality beverages across the desk here because I don't have anything underneath the desk. Well, that'd make for a special after-hour show, wouldn't it? But we won't do that, so don't get your hopes up. 844-747-2577. You don't want to miss the back half of the show. Seth Kniep is my guest. This is a guy who makes his living training people how to build profitable e-commerce companies. Woohoo! Here it is, folks. I'm bringing you the goods, not just telling you about it. Let's get to the phones, though, first. Andrew joins us in Baltimore, Maryland. Andrew, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Ken, how are you? Great to speak with you today. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. How can I help?
Okay, so I work for a construction company, right? Mm-hmm. And I have a side business, right, doing like some drawings and whatnot in a computer program for said construction industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, same industry of the construction company I work for. Now, this is a business I've had for years and years and years. Actually, I probably had it going live for about 5 or 6 years, but I haven't done any work in my side business for a few years. And I've kind of skipped around to different construction companies in that time frame, but I would like to get it going again. My only issue is, I think it's kind of maybe a conflict of interest, because I would be doing like construction drawings for other people in the same industry as the company I work for.
What do you do? If you don't mind, let me interrupt just to get a little more clarity. What is your position right now? What do you do for the construction company that you work for?
Okay, so I don't want to get into too many specifics, but
you don't have to. So let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
Tell me your side hustle. Is it drafting plans for construction?
Yes, it is. It's drafting, yes.
Okay. Is that what you're doing for the other company?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing drafting for that company. I'm doing another sort of managerial projects type role for them.
Is it truly a conflict of interest?
Well, now here's the thing. I guess I could try to do drafting for other companies in this industry outside of my immediate DMA. Not DMA, but DMV, whatever you call it, like metropolitan area.
Yeah.
So that.
Okay, let me I'm going to dig. I'm not interrupting to be rude. I'm interrupting to dig.
Okay.
Your current company you work for has a drafter.
Yes, they do. They have a few.
Okay, and so therein lies where you think the conflict of interest is, correct? You think because clients could come to your current place of employment and hire them to do drafting, that if you do drafting, it's a conflict of interest. I'm trying to really lock in on this.
That's fine.
Is that truly a conflict of interest?
No, I think what they would say if they found out is they would say, "Oh, so on the side you're helping our competitors," kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's what I need to know.
I think that's part of it. That's why I think if I can do it outside of my area, it might not be that big a deal. But yeah, it's just one of the things, because I don't know how they'd feel about it. So
well, I get it. So who else could you do drafting for that aren't competitors in your zip code? Let me ask you this. Who are they? Who's your current company serving? Are they serving?
They're serving general contractors.
Okay.
Who has hired my company to do said trade. You know what I mean? And so I need to find customers who are in the same trade and work for them, which is going to be people just like my company, other companies like my company, and I want to do this on the side and make drawings for them. I'm concerned that if my company finds out, they're going to say, "Oh, you're working in this industry on the side."
Okay.
We don't like that, because I want to put up a website and the whole 9 yards, and it wouldn't be that hard to sort of find out, "Oh, Chris has this other entity going on here," Well,
it would become
I have the potential to make some more money than I even make now, though, at this, because I've talked to other people who do this, and they make like 2 times what I'm making, and they, I could kind of work toward that. Would be the dream, be mobile, have my own business.
How much? And you haven't done any drafting work for 2 years?
It's been a few years, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's what this boils down to. This boils down to how do you find clients in business that aren't really considered in any way, competitive? I mean, it's a big world out there. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of GCs, in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of need for drafting as well. I mean, you got the home renovation side of things. I just wonder, and you don't have to tell me now, but I just wonder what the niches are within the greater construction zone, right? Let's just take the whole world of construction, residential, business construction, whole 9 yards. I think you're limiting yourself. I don't think it's a conflict of interest in that you're not being paid to be a drafter for this other company, and you're not stealing their current clients.
True. Now, okay, I see that. Now, let me say this. My current company, I have an option to work from home sometimes. And so if they did find out, they might be concerned that I'm doing this stuff when I'm supposed to be on the clock for them. I've thought about that too.
Well, you shouldn't be doing that.
No, I know that. But I don't want to mess up the fact that they allow me sometimes to work from home. But I don't know. I guess I'm just scared.
Okay,
I'm freaked
so
out
let me ask you this.
that if they find out, they're going to fire me or something. I don't want to screw up what I have. Yeah.
I get it. But at the same time, you're not going to be there long term anyway, right? So the goal is to get out of there, right?
I mean, the dream, yeah, man, is to have my own thing.
Right,
I'm
so
making
let's just boil this down.
$100K.
How much are you making right now?
$80K.
All right. So here's the reality. If you knew, if you had $80,000 worth of contracts set up right now for drafting, you'd probably leave your current company, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All right, then. So we got to replace $80,000. We'll grow it to a couple hundred. But right now we got to replace 80. I just wonder, with all of your experience, here's what I'm trying to come up with. You called me because you're trying to go, Ken, how do I do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think there's two ways. One, what are some niches or some zip codes that I don't think they'd be upset about, but I think there's more to this. I think you're worried they'd let you go if they found out you were doing anything on the side. It's what it feels like to me in this space. So then to me, I go, okay, what experience and skill set does Andrew have? In construction, where you could go get another $80,000 job because the market's hot right now, and where it wouldn't be this issue, where another company just wouldn't care because of the nature of what you're doing and they're not offering draft. I think that's what you got to look at. Those are your two avenues. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, and I think I could probably find another gig.
I know you can.
Pretty easily.
I know you can. Number one, you're really connected. Number two, you're talented. Number three, you're experienced. I think you find a different gig, which is replacing this current one, and it becomes the new day job, maybe even making more than 80, and it allows you the freedom of conscience and the freedom to not worry about all this stuff and build the side hustle. That's what I think you need to be doing. I think that's the path.
Or maybe just continue on the side and hope that it doesn't get found out. And if it does, kind of deal with it then. How does that sound?
I'm fine with it because I don't think you're doing anything wrong. As long as you aren't, long as you aren't picking from their tree.
Oh, no.
You're not doing anything ethically wrong. I've never felt that this entire call.
And I can pull from all over the U.S. I mean, I have access to.
Yeah, I think we got three options.
It's all on the internet, yeah.
Yeah, I think we got three options. Yeah, here's the other thing. You can do drafting anywhere. Goodness gracious. There's this thing called the interwebs. Provides all kinds of opportunity. Hey, don't move. More of the Ken Coleman Show coming right up. You were created to fill a unique role in and through your work. Now, some of you may be going, I have no idea what that is. Some of you may be saying, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. I felt all of those emotions. I've been where you are, and I can tell you, there's hope. That's why I wrote the book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You can make the income you want and the impact that you desire, and I know that you have what it takes. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you get from where you are to where you want to be, financially and professionally. That's what we're helping you do, winning at work and at life. Life is way too short to not be doing something you're really, really good at, something that you really enjoy and is paying you well and you got opportunity. I mean, that's what this is about, and it is possible now more so than ever. We want to help you there. 844-747-2577. One of the ways we help you is not just what we teach you, but relationships we bring to you. And ZipRecruiter is a phenomenal relationship that is a free resource to you. They are the 800-pound gorilla that can be working for you. If you're thinking about a switch or you're absolutely ready and you're going, all right, I just want to kick the tires, this is who you ought to be kicking the tires with. Number one hiring site in the United States. In just a matter of minutes, at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken, you fill out a profile. You upload your resume. Their technology, their team start to immediately become your recruiter. You're back doing your job. You're Christmas shopping. You're doing whatever you got to do. You're not stressing. And they're going, okay, based on this profile, I think this profile matches up with this job, this job, this job, and this job. They contact the company who's paying them, by the way, to find you. You don't pay for anything. And then you're going to get updates when you get looks, likes, and request for your information. They allow companies to contact you directly. It's the easiest, best way to get hired. It is a no-brainer. It is free. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Their candidates are 3 times as likely to get hired based on that process I just quickly reviewed. So go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. All right, so we have a real problem, and it's coming to a head. Teachers, educators are fried, and not only are they fried, they're finished, and they're leaving. And this is going to have unbelievable systemic repercussions. Let's get into it right now in the news. All right, so let's start with some real data. 22% of Tennessee teachers say they're ready to leave. Half of Alabama's school staff and teachers are thinking about leaving jobs as shortages worsen. So these just happen to be 2 regional stories, but this is indicative of the whole environment in education across the country. And this is not cool, because you want to talk about great men and women, they're teachers. You want to talk about great men and women who are forced to work in really, really bad environments and there's not much help or hope? It's teachers. And then you want to talk about people that when they're fried and leave, the ripple effect being massive, it's teachers. We got a problem here. And the government needs to wake up. State governments need to wake up. We as parents and citizens need to wake up to this. This is a 4-alarm fire, and we got to deal with it. Let's dive in deeper. The professional educators of Tennessee do an annual survey of teachers, and for years, the number one complaint they hear about is usually student discipline. But this year, for the first time, low teacher morale was the number one reason why educators are eyeing the exit signs. Bethany Bowman is quoted here in this article. She's the Director of Professional Development for Professional Educators of Tennessee. There's less and less control, but more and more responsibility. So they're not allowed to control the environment in which they teach. That's disheartening. It's discouraging. And then on top of that, they pile more and more work on them. Here is another quote from Bowman. It's not healthy mentally for a teacher to stay in the field. Listen to this. This is haunting. They've got to take the pressure off, and you got to start treating teachers as professionals. They've been to school. They've been trained. They know what to do. They don't need to be watched under a microscope every little step they take, every little move they make. Here's a sample of the comments left by teachers in Tennessee. The biggest challenge in education is student behavior, exasperated by large class sizes, which causes our morale to be low. It creates time management problems and makes it difficult to solve diverse student needs. Here's another one. Support isn't blue jean day. Oh boy. Talk about an embarrassing leadership band-aid. Teachers are suffering and fraying at all ends. You go, hey, you can wear blue jeans on Thursdays. Oh, that's great. Support isn't blue jean day. It's giving them the time they need to work on assigned tasks without sacrificing their own families. Here's another comment. I feel underpaid and overworked. I spend extra money and time trying to provide a decent education to my students. Here's another one. I regularly look for jobs outside of the teaching profession. I've had enough. My administrators are not supportive, and I'm tired of being told that my job is really to be a facilitator or moderator. Now, I am not going to go down the path of bashing government regulations and government administrators. That's a whole show. I could do an entire rant right now on that. But I don't know that it would serve much today. But the reality is that until those government regulators, government administrators in the education space start to focus on the front lines, the teachers and the kids, not the laws, not the liability being worried about being sued, it's not going to change. I wish I could tell you it's going to change. It's not going to change until legislators, administrators, regulators, all of them, slap them all in a room. And what has happened in the public school environment in the United States is that we are burning through some of the most valuable people on the planet, people who are committed and called. How many teachers have we on this show, Amanda, in the last 2-3 years heard from who are questioning their calling because they're absolutely overworked, they're discouraged because they can't teach, they can't even moderate, discipline a classroom, and they're leaving. And yet the kids aren't leaving. They're still coming to school. Watch for this issue to be a massive national story, or at least it should be in 2022. Every time there's an election day, I feel like the politicians roll out the talking points about educating our kids. Here's the problem. Who's going to educate them if we don't change the environment that is chewing through teachers like a wood chipper? You ever seen a wood chipper? It's a fascinating concept. Take a big giant log, feed it into this giant machine that looks like an alien, and it's like, and it just spits out sawdust out the other side. I got to tell you, for a guy with ADHD, it's fascinating to watch. I really enjoy it. It's very entertaining. But the sad reality is that's what a lot of teachers feel like day in and day out, that they're going through the wood chipper. And by the end of the day, they're just sawdust. Behaviors, regulations, pressures on test scores, not having the resources, not having the time to do the thing that they were called to do. We need a reset on the American public education system, even in the private schools, because they've adopted much of the same philosophies. They may administer it a little bit differently, but we are creating test takers, not pathfinders. It's a problem. I'm getting engaged on the fight, in the fight, because this matters. These are our children. These are men and women who are passionate about instructing and guiding the next generation. This isn't something we just need to sweep under the carpet and go, well, we'll just figure it out. Or I'll take my kids to private school. Candidly, my 3 kids, I'm blessed to have all 3 in a private school. But there are issues on the private school level as well. What are we doing for teachers and kids to allow learning and curiosity and pathfinding to take place? This is serious business. Life is short. I'm tired of creating wanderers. I want to create wanderers. More on that in the days to come. This is the Ken Coleman Show. You were created to fill a unique role in this world, but figuring out what that is can feel overwhelming. That's why we created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In less than 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify and verify what you do best, the work you love, and the results you want to produce. You'll even get a list of professional possibilities to help you jumpstart the job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Okay, I opened up the show today giving you 3 primary reasons why a side hustle makes a whole lot of sense. Quick review. If you want to get out of debt, right, that will give you so much more freedom to pursue work that matters deeply to you. That's one. How about just funding and cash flow in life, some stuff that's extra? Well, that's a good reason. And then how about my favorite reason, beginning to test the dream job, seeing what it might be like to work for yourself. And hey, there's no big risk here. We're crawling. Right? Before we walk, we're walking before we run. It's a really good reason. And so that's why I'm really excited to be endorsing Just One Dime. You've been hearing me talk about them. But today I want to bring in their CEO, their founder, Seth Kniep. He joins me here on the show. Seth, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show.
Thanks for having me on, Ken. So glad to be here.
Well, you bet. So, okay. So let's just talk briefly about your story, because we're going to have you on for a couple of segments. I want to dive into some practical stuff on how you can help my audience, specifically those people who want to have a side hustle and win. But you've got a real story here. You were working for Apple, man, big time, and you were like, I'm done. Why were you done, and what did you decide to do about it?
I was sick of the corporatocracy. I mean, Apple's a great company, don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
the particular department I worked for, the manager who managed me just made my life miserable. And I really reached a breaking point. I'll never forget the day I had this meeting. I worked from home. I had the dream job. People thought it was the coolest thing when I said, hey, I work for Apple. And I'm at home. I'm in a video chat. My manager pretty much threw me under the bus for doing exactly as I was told. My wife was standing over in the right corner of the room, off screen, of course, and she could see the stress on my face. And after I closed my computer, after that meeting, I turned to her and I said, I'm done. I am building a new life for our family. And that is when I got the idea of how many times do you need to double a dime for it to become $100,000. And by the grace of God alone, I did it.
Which is how many? I want people to get that simple
20.
math.
Just 20.
Yeah.
Just 20 times. The exponential growth is ridiculous.
Yeah. So you get that and you go, okay, 20 times I got to double a dime. That's $100,000. I can take care of my family on that. And so that leads you to, how'd you get into e-commerce and trying stuff that way? How'd that happen?
So I started doubling it just by talking to random people. At one point, I rounded it up to an even 10. So it'd be easy to say, hey, I'm at $20. Could you give me 20 more? Why? And I would share with them my dream. I want to build a new life for my family. And so I found enough people who believed in this vision, got to $400. Never forget the guy who brought me from 200 to 400. We're still friends to this day. I took the 400 and I used it to buy cremation urns on DHgate. And I started selling those on eBay and on Amazon. And that's when I blew past 100,000 over the next several months. And I realized, wait a minute, there's something here. I am selling on Amazon. Even while I'm sleeping, these sales continue to come in. And that's when I knew, okay, this is something I can do. And once my income, my profit doubled what Apple paid me, that's when I fired Apple and I said, I'm doing this full time.
That's unbelievable.
And I'd never looked back.
This is such a great story. Okay, so I want to run through this really fast, okay? Because in our next segment, we're going to dive in how now you're helping people do this. So you take the $400. How much was the earn?
The earn would sell. Yep, the earn would sell for just over $30 on Amazon. So I was profiting right around $10, and it got up to 10 times a day. To me at that time, Ken, $3,000 profit a month was huge. Like that's a massive raise. And I thought, wait a minute, if I can do this with one product, why can't I do it with two? Why not three? And then I was just on fire.
See, that's what I want people to understand. We're talking $400 is how you got started. More on that in our next segment. We're going to go through some of the practical things now that you've learned, because you've done this a lot. Give people a picture and what you've done for yourself. Forget what you're doing now with just one dime to help others, but you blew this thing up. Give me a quick snapshot of how it blew up in over a year, 2-3 years.
Yeah. So we started doing more and more on Amazon, started launching more products, and that grew to millions. And then we started getting requests. Seth, could you show me what you do? And so I started just teaching people for fun. My sisters, Christine, my neighbor down the road, a guy I met at the grocery store. And I thought, well, maybe I should start charging for this. And so one night, my son and I, who's my business partner and co-founder, Josiah, we locked ourselves in a coffee shop. We would not leave until we had created our first training to teach other people. And since that time, we've consulted for Forever 21, BMW, Amazon themselves. We have a team in China now. We have a sourcing 3PL in Oklahoma City, and it's just grown and grown. And now we have investors who we build Amazon stores for, and we get to share in those profits.
It's unbelievable what you've done. And what's great about it is you've done it on Amazon, which is so easy and functionally used. Coming up, Seth is staying with us. For some of you are going, okay, he's got my attention, and he should. Don't move. We're going to get into some practical steps you can take and how he can guide you next. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
We were drawn to Christian healthcare ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981, And accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work and in life. Today's focus is the side hustle, where you can just go make some money for getting out of debt, go make some money to maybe accomplish some other dreams and goals, some things that they aren't necessary, but they'd be great. You'd love to do it if you had the extra income. And for some of you, it's the way to actually start the path to the dream job, working for yourself. And so I got a guy who can actually fast forward a lot of that. And I'm not bringing you people on the show that are hucksters. I want people that are talking to you that have done it. I'm not interested in anybody's opinion. I'm interested in someone's experience. My guest is Seth Kniep. If you're just joining us, he is the founder and CEO of Just One Dime. He trains entrepreneurs how to build profitable Amazon and e-commerce companies. And here's his background. $400 he got from friends and strangers. Said, hey, I think I could turn this $400 into $100,000 or more. And he did. Started selling urns. He bought them for $20. Sold for $30 on Amazon. Now he does it all the time and helps other people make millions. It's crazy, but it's extremely possible. So, Seth, let's talk about the current environment we're in. All right. Has the pandemic made it easier, harder? Is it the same to be able to sell on Amazon, to start an e-commerce company with not a lot of money, but actually make it work while you sleep?
It's funny you say that, because just a few days ago, I checked the U.S. Census Bureau and looked at what percentage of retail sales in the U.S. are online versus brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. And the answer is mind-melting. In the last quarter, 13.3%, only 13.3% of retail sales were online in the U.S.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
I would have thought it was 83%, honestly.
Yeah. Most people say anywhere from like 60 to 90. And what's crazy is a lot of people think, well, wait a minute, how's that even possible? Well, the truth is people still go to brick and mortar stores more often than they do online. Now, to be fair, if you consider groceries, naturally people still go to grocery stores more than buying online. So that's a big part of it. But I don't think we've even begun to scratch the surface. And to answer your question directly, yes, it's made it easier because so many people now were forced to buy online who never had an Amazon Prime account previously. Wow. And what I love about it, Ken, is the growth is slower than most people realize. And I actually like that, because if you look at the real estate crash in 2006 to 2008, if you look at the dot-com boom, one thing that was true for both of these massive market crashes is they grew ridiculously fast. The infrastructure was not stable. There was a lot of hope, false hope. But when it comes to online, the growth is actually slower than most people realize, as testified by you when you said it would be closer to 80-some%. Yeah. Which means, I mean, Amazon existed during dot-com boom. They existed during the real estate market crash, and they suffered, but they continued. They didn't go under. Therefore, I think the level of security based on their history and based on where people's shopping habits are moving is very high. And the most mind-blowing thing to me, Ken, in all of this is a lot of people don't realize when you buy something on Amazon, most of the time, over 50%, you're buying it from someone who started this on the side, just like you said, a side hustle. They found these products, they had them shipped to Amazon's fulfillment center. You're literally supporting a small to medium, sometimes large business, someone making extra cash.
Give me an example. Give me a product that we bought and we probably didn't even realize. We thought it was Amazon, the big mothership, but it was actually another retailer using Amazon as distribution. Give me an example of a product.
Absolutely. Fotiv, one of the companies that we helped to launch. Fotiv sells a ton of headphones. The vast majority of headphones are sold by third-party sellers, not Amazon themselves. Now, it comes from Amazon, and that increases the level of security because Amazon is going to ship it. You know, it's FBA, Prime shipping, 2 days. Boom, it's right there on my doorstep, which is fascinating. Yeah. But it's literally and what I love about it is, you know, people can't complain and say, well, it's because I didn't get enough capital, or, well, it's because people didn't like me or my background. Amazon has really leveled the playing field for entrepreneurs and given a very equal opportunity with various outcomes, depending on someone's devotion and commitment and skills, to become an entrepreneur. And I will say it's not easy. It's hard, but it is so worth it.
Yeah, well, it is hard, but you have a system, and we'll get to that in just a moment, where you train people because you know you failed, you've won big time, so you know how to do it and how to make it work. Another practical question: how much time? People are watching right now. They're going, I'd love to work for myself. How much time is this going to take somebody? If we take a 40-hour work week as your standard, what would you say is a general rule of thumb to get this thing up and going and make it work?
You could go full-time. Minimum, I would say, give it 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it depends on the stage you're in. Like when you're in the sourcing stage, you're going to be really busy for a while, and then it's going to slough off while you're waiting for that product to be shipped all the way to Amazon's fulfillment center. But as a general rule, we recommend give it a couple hours a day, 6 days a week. And it doesn't have to be every day. You might put more of that. You could do 5 hours on Saturday.
Right.
I mean, the vast majority of our over 10,000 students are doing this part-time while they have their regular 9 to 5s.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk some real data. All right. They're going, okay, Ken likes this guy. I'm listening. You did it the old fashioned way. You just started buying urns, right? Figured out how to source them.
Right.
You put them online. You were selling them for 30, buying them for 20, $10 profit, at least gross profit every time. You come in and you make all this a lot easier for people. Does it matter the type of two-part question really quick? Only got about 3 minutes.
Yes.
Does it matter the type of product with your program, number one, and then number two, how much money do they need to think in their minds to invest to just get going?
Absolutely. Minimum $3,000, closer to $5,000 to $6,000 up front is going to be very helpful. So you have enough to source the product and enough to run PPC advertising to advertise it. That's just a range, but it depends on the product. And we teach people how to raise capital for people who don't have as much. But to answer the first part of your question, the product must stand out. You've got to give me a reason to buy your product over the competition, because there's a lot of people selling in Amazon. It's growing. There's tons of room, but it's got to stand out. And how do I do that? A better product and the best featured photo will make me want to click and buy that product.
And you got 10,000 people in your program right now. You're coaching them through all of that. Does that $3,000 to $5,000 investment include paying you for the advice and the support? Talk about what you guys do.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, if I can we actually created a link specifically for this show. Ken.
I like it.
JOD.com/KEN. You can't misspell it.
Yeah.
Ken.
There it is.
That will give people a free taste of almost an hour of training on how to find these products you're talking about. And then if they're still interested, they can book a meeting face-to-face over video chat with one of our staff members, where we can explain the different levels of training, anywhere from $1,000 up to $4,000, depending on what level of training they want.
Awesome. And so you walk them through and guide them through the whole thing. It's not like they're out left on their own. See, that's
one-to-one
huge.
coaching. Yep. Group coaching, coaches who have to send us screenshots of their sales and P&L reports to validate that they too are selling in Amazon, not just selling, but profitably, as well as we have staff in China who find them suppliers. I mean, it's more than a course.
Awesome.
It's full-fledged.
So JOD.com/Ken.
That's it.
JOD.com/Ken. Kick the tires on this. It's absolutely free. No strings attached. Kick the tires on this real quick before we let you go. Give me 20 seconds on the success rates. They're here and they go here after being a part of your program.
Yep. For every single student who we have surveyed or who I have spoken with, or one of our staff, or 126 staff have spoken with, who stuck with it for at least a year, all of those have become profitable and successful, whether that's they're making $500 profit a month or $5 million a month. I've never had a student who stuck with it for a year who did not succeed at this.
Wow.
There are some who start and they give up. And that's why we've included a lot of mindset training, a lot of stuff you talk about. You got to take ownership. You're going to fail your way into success.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
And what I love about this and our partnership and why I'm endorsing you is this is a proven plan that will work if you work it. It does not take a huge amount of cash. And this could be the side hustle that helps get you out of debt. It could be the side hustle that puts you on the path to your dream job, folks. This is really good stuff. jod.com/Ken. Go kick the tires. Check it out. I think you're going to like it. Hey, Seth, thanks for being with us. We got some fun stuff we're going to be doing together. Appreciate you. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.